Sports, and we are at full time. Manchester City 3, Man United nil. What a terrible second half. What a terrible game. I don't want to be sensationalist and only talking about, a reflection of the score. But just to recap, first half, we had a decent performance. I'll reiterate. We played okay. We played well in patches, but we never looked like scoring, didn't have any part of an attack, anything that resembled a constructive piece of attack move. Didn't have any of that. I don't think we had a shot on target in the first half. So it was what it was. And one moment of brilliance from their part. Foden got a well-deserved goal. He did well on that move, scored a header. Okay, 1-0 down. Second half. And we kick off as if we're in a rugby game. I'm sure we had like about 8 players on the halfway line. At least that's what it felt like. Ridiculous. But I can't blame the tactic because for the first 5 minutes or so, it was all Man United. But you could tell it smelt of desperation. It was just gung-ho. Amorim's teams, and I don't blame Amorim. I'm certainly not going to go in about sacking Amorim, but he's got to take a lot of criticism. The tactics that he's deployed, this smell of desperation. Last year, there's so many matches where I thought you're playing as if you represent a small club where you've got to get everything perfect to register your win. At Man United, you're not going to get that time. At any big club, you're not going to get that time. And he's starting to show that he belongs to the sporting average club in Europe kind of level. I'm not saying be like Mourinho and only care about results, but you've got to have results matter. Ultimately, results matter. And no, Amorim is very obsessed with playing well. I get it. I go back to the changes that Man United has seen post Sir Alex Ferguson, and obviously Amorim comes in after Ten Hag, who came in because of his football, but again, demands at Man United meant that Ten Hag didn't get the time to implement all the players to implement his style of football. So out he goes. Amorim comes in, and we all say, yeah, give Amorim all the time that he needs and all the players that he needs. And my goodness, we've had 200 million spent on the front line when you don't have a goalkeeper. And we come back in today. What's cost us? Let's look at it. First goal, as I said, it was a bit of a freak that ricochet back onto the winger. I think it was Doku, who, by the way, Doku, every time I see him play for Man City against Man United, he always seems to have a really, really good game. Today, he cost Euro his place, a substitute. But I digress. First half, sorry. Fortunate ricochet, cross comes in. One of the smaller men on the pitch, Foden, gets a header, brilliant header, loops back, strong neck muscles, puts the ball in the back of the net. 1-0 Man City. Second half starts all gung-ho, and after Haaland out-muscles Luke Shaw, who, what a terrible second half he has had. But after Haaland out-muscles Luke Shaw, Bindier doesn't come off his line. Watch it all, guys. I don't think Sky Sports covered it. I'm not sure that I didn't hear any of the commentators mention it, but Bayern was way slow off his line there. He should have got it. He should have seen that it's Haaland. It's the best striker in the world. Against Luke Shaw, outmuscles him, brushes him, puts him away, and by the time he comes back, he comes in front of Haaland, it just stinks. Haaland just stinks Bayern, who I don't know if he did a great deal to stop him. I just think Bayern is playing with a little bit of a handbrake where he's got to prove that he deserves to start. He's got to prove that he deserves to stay at Man United. Onana's gone. Bayern is looking like he doesn't want to make a mistake, bring down a player for penalty, but he's playing on half fuel. This is not a way to defend for Man United, to play in the goal for Man United. So very, very poor. Luke Shaw, we spoke about him. Atrocious. Got owned 3 times at least. One was a goal. The first one was a goal. The second one, Haaland somehow hits the post, had an empty goal, ends up finding the post, but Luke Shaw's fault, totally. The third goal, well, disaster substitution, first of all, from Amorim, bringing in Harry Maguire when you're 2-0 down, you want to be countering, you bring your backline all the way up, and you put Maguire in defence. You remove your fastest defender in Lenny Yoro, and you bring Harry Maguire in your defence. I mean, even Maguire could have told him that was a shocking decision. Anyway, down the channel, left channel, bad pass from Ugarte, I believe. Terrible pass from Luke Shaw and Maguire. Sorry, I think Maguire, terrible pass from him. Luke Shaw gets caught out. Once again, it's a goal. And Luke Shaw makes another one, which was a catastrophe again, but somehow Man City player, at that point I was gone. My head was gone. But Man City player didn't convert that chance. But Luke Shaw, what a terrible second half he's had. But Amorim, not finished with him. Instead of substituting Luke Shaw, he goes on and substitutes Lenny Yoro. What about bringing on, if you want to bring on Maguire, bring him on that left central back position, keep him there with De Ligt, because let's face it, Man City for me never got out of third gear, guys. Man City never got out of third gear. They sat back, knew that Man United had a blunt attack, sat back, picked their chances, countered with Haaland. And what we ended up doing is give one of the best, if not the best striker in the world, all the chance to turn, get onto his favourite foot, place the ball at the back of the net. What does Haaland need? Actually, if I was Haaland, I'd be pissed because he should have walked away with a hat-trick, at least. Erling Haaland should be mad. Man United have done everything to contribute towards him getting a hat-trick. Bayern in goal, please. Luke Shaw in defence, owned him. Bruno Fernandes in central midfield. Complete disaster. Amorim. What is he thinking with these substitutions? Obviously, the game's literally just finished. I've not heard, not had a chance to get onto the commentators, and I think Amorim will be doing his interview anytime now. So let's wait what he has to say for himself. But I'm almost getting fed up hearing about Amorim's painful interviews after matches because he's very defeatist. He admits to mistakes. Well, how about not making them in the first place? It's all very well talking about Onana after he's gone, but while Onana was there, he defended him to the hilt. I mean, who are you kidding? You can call out your players when it's so obvious. So Amarim's got to do a lot of answering. You know, this is Man City. You don't need to have plenty of experience in the Premier League to know about Man City's strengths. Let's look at it today. And I want to talk about a particular point, but Man City, they welcome Rodri, ex-Ballon d'Or winner, so super strong midfield or midfielder, which makes a very strong midfield. Best striker in the world, and now best goalkeeper in the world. And now let's talk about that. Man United were linked with Donnarumma the entire summer. It was clear as day, especially towards the back end of the summer, that PSG and Donnarumma were going to part ways. Very, very clear. Okay. PSG brought in their replacement. Donnarumma kept getting linked. Man United, of all teams in the Premier League, Man United needed a goalkeeper, right? So we get linked with arguably the best keeper in the world. What do? Not sign him. Shocking decision. We then go and sign a 21-year-old, a 23-year-old goalkeeper. A 22, 23-year-old goalkeeper. No problems. I've got no problems. And if you can go back to my previous videos, you'll see. No problems on Lamens. I think he's a quality talent. In many ways reminds me of De Gea because came in at a young age, super talent, one to watch, and it's available. You've got to snap him. However, Lamens is not for now. Amarim then gets asked, oh, are we bringing Lamens in against Man City? No. But what reason did he? Oh, new ball, yeah, new league, etc. We knew Lamens was not going to start against Man City. I knew that. And I backed that decision. However, that's not the... Given the choice, I wouldn't even have to be in that position. We had the chance to secure the services of Donnarumma. The best, one of the best, the best in his position. Why didn't we go and get that transfer done? And if you want Lamens, get him done as well. As you've seen today, guys, it's not like we've got a good second goalkeeper. Bindier is not cut out for this level. This is way above his pay grade. Onana, we've seen the back of him. He always needed to go, but Bindier is no better. Is doing a job. I think Bindier, the best chance for Bindier is for us when we play weaker opposition and Man United have the ball. Bindier's got to play some football, play from the back, or basically play ball. Keep the ball with his feet, not hands. I think Bindier's a decent keeper. But against good opposition who are going to control the match, who are going to test you, pepper your post, your goal, he's not it. And teams who are going to dominate set pieces, he's certainly not the keeper. Talking about set pieces, look at Man City. They've got a 6.5 feet tall Donnarumma, 6'5" he is. And they have Erling Haaland, who's a giant man mountain, on the front post. I mean, what sort of a corner do you have to whip in to beat Man City at set pieces? I mean, just think about that. We had the chance to bring in this keeper, guys. We had the chance. We refused. We chose not to. It's not a new ball for Donnarumma. Pep threw him right in. And actually, for me, he was probably the second best player after Erling Haaland. What a player. What a keeper. So Amorim's got to answer for that. Instead, he's gone on and spent 200 million almost on our centre forward line or our front line. And some of that is thoroughly well spent. I think Mbuemo has proved to be one of our better players since he's joined. And today, our best player. I think from a United perspective, he's my man of the match. He's the only player that he's tried to score, looked like scoring, hit the target, and forced a good save out of Donnarumma. Unfortunately, it was far too scarce, far too rare, and he was the only player doing it. So, sad from a Man United perspective, really. I'm going to go through the player ratings in a short while, but let's talk about the wing-back situation for Man United. Dorgu, what's he done this match? I mean, I'm starting to get to the point where I don't know what to expect from Dorgu. He's got such a powerful shot on him. In fact, quite a few players at Man United have got a terrific shot. For some reason, they don't shoot. Mbuemo is the only one who shoots. He's got a very good shot. He shoots. Sesko's all power, all muscle, not had a shot. Dorgu's got a tremendous shot on him, doesn't shoot. Mazraoui didn't shoot. Ugarte did well. Casemiro shot. But I just think the players are confused. And this has got to go down. Some of it has got to lay on Amorim's shoulders. Why do they look so ineffective? Why are we not getting our best shooters, our best strikers in positions where they can deliver some shots, a knockout blow? We just don't do it. Crossing. Again, talking about our wing backs. How many crosses did we put in? We've got Dorgu on the left, Mazraoui on the right. Very, very few crosses. And I think it starts again from that keeper situation. Bindier does not inspire people, doesn't inspire the back line. It puts a doubt into the defense. Luke Shaw, very, very shaky. Midfield, again, that spine has had a problem today. It's had a big problem. And we seem to be desperate. After half-time, the kickoff, I think because we don't look like scoring when the match is fairly evenly placed, evenly matched, and you've got the formation in place, we just don't look like scoring from open play, period. I think when I was saying come on at half-time, it was more in hope than in expectation, because we just don't score from open play. So I think Amorim himself has realised that we don't score and we don't look like scoring. So what he's told the players is just throw the kitchen sink at them. And we looked more threatening, sure, but that's because we were playing pretty much 10 men in their half. But all it takes is one ball over the top or through our players onto Haaland. That's it. Job done. And so, like the first half, the first chance that they got in the second half, Erling Haaland just punished us. they're very decisive. They ended up missing a chance as well. This could and probably should have been 5-0. 2 gilt-edged chances they missed. This could be another drumming. So guys, this is it. Man United, terrible start. The first 4 games, we've now lost 2, drawn 1, won 1. We've won 1 out of our first 4 games. Who are these players? Who are these fans, these cynics who say that, oh, no Europe, 1 game a week. We'll focus on that 1 game a week. Guys, it doesn't work like that. This is not football. What excuse does what excuse do we have now? No Europe, no Carling Cup. We've literally got 1 match a week all the way through to January when the FA Cup starts. Terrible. But Amorim, yet again, for me, last word on him before we go into the player ratings. It almost seems like he's not done his homework today, guys. Luke Shaw, first of all, throughout his life, Luke Shaw has been a left back. Okay, playing with wingers, you've got the bite line where you can slide, put your tackle, put the ball out. Okay. He's a decent to good centre back. Don't get me wrong. He plays well there. And actually, I'd go as far as saying 80 to 90% of the matches this season, if he plays there all season, if he stays fit for starters, that's Luke Shaw we're talking about. But 80 to 90% of the teams that we face, we should be fine with Luke Shaw in that position. But today, against Erling Haaland, after he got owned, I mean, Amorim, what are you waiting to make a change? You could see Haaland looking to play in that channel between Shaw and our mid centre back. Playing the channel. He'll bully Shaw for sure. Amorim showing real naivety there. Bayern Deer, that was another of his decision that's played bad. Mazraoui, he didn't manage him. Okay, start with Mazraoui. I expected him to start with Mazraoui, and he had an okay first half, but you could see we needed a goal. Instead of throwing the kitchen sink and going gung-ho and just putting everyone up front, he needed to manage the game better. I think Noose only had 1 half in him. He probably should have brought Ahmad from a deeper position and played Bruno in that 10. Bruno and Ugarte. Now, I'm happy personally he played Ugarte, but for me, Bruno in a top match like this cannot play in centre midfield. He doesn't have the physicality, doesn't have... He runs a lot, so it's not fair to say he doesn't have the legs, but technically he doesn't have the legs and the discipline. Or because he doesn't do the right running, doesn't track runners. He never today tracked Haaland 1 bit. Neither did he push against the passer, whoever it was who found Haaland multiple times. So Bruno is ineffective against the big opposition in midfield. In my opinion, he should have started with Casemiro and Ugarte, played Bruno in one of the 10s, and then bring Ahmad on. I think I said that at the beginning in the preview. Ahmad, he's done well, and I feel sorry that I'm calling for him to have been subbed, but he's not done well enough to start ahead of Mbeumo, and I think, you know, he's more effective coming on from the bench. But yet again, Amorim has shown his naivety. Another thing I do want to touch on with Amorim is every match, not just this match, in general, every match he seems to change. He's the new Tinkerman. He's the new Ranieri. And Ranieri was a very, very good manager and managed a mid-table team like Leicester, something a level that Amorim is used to, is accustomed to from Sporting. But at a big club, you need your centre backs to be sturdy, steady, know what you're going to get. From match to match, he's always changing his centre back line, his centre backs. Today he started with Yoro, Delit, and Shaw. Okay. Haaland comes on, bullies Shaw. So what does he do? He removes Lenny Yoro, who's the fastest, quickest centre back who brings the ball out with him, and replaces him with slow coach Slabhead. So in comes Maguire, who then takes the libero position in the middle of the back three, shifts Delit to the right, keeps Shaw on the left. What's the logic in that? All I can think of is, okay, Dorgu has had a good game, always does, and putting Delit on that right forced Dorgu off. Fair enough, but I think we could have other solutions to that. It's always changing, and I'm all up for change. I'm all up for people playing out of position and surprising the opposition. But sometimes we're surprising ourselves. We don't know whether to stick or twist. Bindier today didn't know whether to stay on his line or come out get the ball. What happens? The centre forward dominates Luke Shaw, and we are slow off the line. Results in a goal. Doesn't know whether to stick or twist. Maguire, they're playing a high line. Maguire's in the centre back position, in that libero number, that libero role at the centre of the defence, and he's the last man. I mean, a snail would have gone past Maguire there, let alone Erling Haaland. Far too strong, far too quick. Ball was played on his right. He had the chance to go on his left, on his preferred foot. Placed the ball. What a finish, by the way. In off the post. And Bindier was nowhere near. Nowhere near. So, big issues. On the other hand, Shesko, guys, I'm all up for giving people chances. And my goodness, do I wish Shesko all the best. I really hope he's the number 9 for Man United for years to come. But where was he today? He did a couple of good runs in the first half. But second half, it's almost like we're playing with number 10. And it's not just Sesko's fault. It's the system. It's the entire team. Amorim, you've got a 6'5" monster forward up front. Strong, can run, great acceleration, young player. How are you not getting the best out of him? Or at least getting something out of him? That again has got to go down onto Amorim. So, yeah, I think I'm going to start with the player ratings. And before I get on to the player ratings, I'm going to start with the manager. For me, the manager gets a generous 3 out of 10. Been terrible. It's a couple of good selections. I think Masraoui came on, Masraoui started, was good. I also liked how he's played and tried with Mbuemo, who ended up showing his class, and he was United's best player. But apart from that, I think Amorim got everything wrong. It's a continuation. Him and Bruno are stinking the place out, that Portuguese duo. Anyway, we go to the fans. I think the fans get a solid 8. They've not done anything wrong. And the referee gets an 8 out of 10. I didn't see anything wrong. I don't think he was really, really tested, so I can't go higher. But 8 out of 10s for the fans and the referee. Now let's get into the team. Bayern Deer, 4 out of 10. Was not the worst player in the game for United, and we'll get on to that player later on in a short while. But what did he do? Didn't do much to impact the game. As a goalkeeper, you're looking to inspire your backline. When we're struggling, we've got to do something. You know, you've got to have the personality of Schmeichel to kick people's asses, to gear, to shout, to intimidate players. He's done none of that. He was slow off his line. He wasn't directly responsible for the other two goals, but he never looked like stopping them. Even the two chances that Man City missed, which they should have scored, it's not because of the keeper. So for me, Bandy's done nothing great in the match and one blunder. So he gets marked down. He's a 4 out of 10. Mazraoui, first game coming back on into the fold. Not his match fit, not game fit. I'll give him an average score, 6 out of 10. I thought he was solid at the back. Didn't offer much going forward. So, could potentially be marked down for that, especially in a match like this. But I think, again, that's on Amorim. He needed to manage Mazraoui better. Mazraoui had one strong half in him, and had Amorim managed him properly, I think we could have been looking at a different scoreline. Lenny Yoro, I don't know why he got subbed. Doku looked good, but Doku is not Lenny Yoro's man directly. I don't know actually why Lenny Yoro went off. Maybe there's something that we've not seen, I've not picked up, and I actually give him 6.5 out of 10. De Ligt again, I don't think he's done much wrong at all. One of Man United's better players. I think is the best player in that centre-back line today. Looks super solid, and even when moved around, shuffled around to right centre-back, he managed Doku really well because Mazraoui needed to go and offer a lot more in attack. So De Ligt was super strong, stood his ground, and I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Luke Shaw, absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. He had 3 blunders. I think they only scored 1 of the 3 blunders, and then he had another real bad mishap, which was also contributory to Maguire, which cost a goal. Luke Shaw's second half performance is pretty much 0 to 1. Because of his first performance, he gets a little bit more, but he's still the worst player on the roster today. 3 out of 10. Same score as Amorim. Dorgu, he wasn't directly involved in any of the goals that we conceded, not that I recall. Offered very little going forward. One of them, he cut back, did some decent move, didn't have the end product, shot high, wide. Just very inconsistent, Dorgu. So I'll give him bang in the middle, 5 out of 10. Ugarte. Ugarte, 6.5 out of 10. I thought, again, I didn't have the highest of expectations. He's not been consistent. He's not been played consistently, and that's another thing that Amorim should get marked down on. Man United players at the moment, no one's consistent apart from Bruno Fernandes. And Bruno Fernandes is consistently shit. So no other player knows whether he's playing 1 week or 1 week to the next. Can be good, but it can also be very unsettling, and people don't get into a rhythm. So Ugarte, for me, has done himself justice, done himself some credit. 6.5 out of 10. Not a great score, but one of the better players in a red shirt today. I just hope that he gets a longer run in the team, in the starting lineup. Bruno Fernandes, 4 out of 10. Um, Bruno, who was the worst player on the pitch in the first half, just did simple things wrong. And I mentioned this, but a lot of fans, I'm a Bruno fan, by the way. I like Bruno, but I also feel like I know his personality. He wants to be a midfielder. A lot of fans think, you know, he wants to play as a number 10. He wants to be. No, he might be better as a number 10, and he probably loves that when the team is playing well and attacking. When the team is not playing well and he's bereft and devoid of the ball, Bruno will wander into the midfield and leave a hole there. So he likes to be in the thick of things. To Bruno's credit, he is always asking for the ball, never shies from it. He's relentless. He will always run. But those are the basics that we've come to expect now with Bruno, so I can't credit him for it. I can't give him extra marks. But he's got to be less wasteful with his chances. Bruno has got to improve. And we saw that even in the second half. The ball comes to him outside of the right foot, big outside, big swing, potential creation of a goal, potential creation of a chance, but goes wayward. He's very brave. He will not stop trying. That's his good side, but on the other hand, he's wasteful. And he doesn't know when to pick his moments, when to choose to be, cavalier, and when to choose to be flamboyant and when not. He's a captain. He's got to lead by example. He's got to do better than what he's been doing. And frankly, away to Arsenal, away to Man City, he's been one of the biggest letdowns. Bruno Fernandes. Time to take note, especially with Mainu on the bench and threatening to come in for him. Ahmad, average score really for me. Ahmad, it's not done too bad, but not done great. One moment that typified Ahmad for me was he, did a good bit of skill, dribbled past his player, but then smashed the ball low and hard to Mbuemo. Now, they smash and they smash. Playing the ball quick across the face of the goal, hoping your teammate taps it in, is one. Ahmad just blasted it, and Mbuemo didn't even have a chance. Hits Mbuemo, goes kind of wide of the post, but luckily Donnarumma gets a toe flick or something, gets something on the ball, and we get a corner. But the point is, that was a great position, engineered and opened by Ahmad. He just lacks that last bit of quality, especially on his right foot. So for me, it goes down as an average performance. Certainly not his worst this season, but could be better. Mbuemo, the other number 10, for me, the best player in a red shirt. 7 out of 10, the only attacker that really threatened. If Man United were to get a goal, it would have been from this man. No other. Forced a really good save from Donnarumma. So keep going, Mbuemo, but at the same time, I'm starting to feel sorry for him because he swapped Brentford to come to Man United and feels like he's carrying the team at the moment. A player of the month in the month of August, staying fit, and he's the one who's putting in the performances. So glad and thankful we've got him, but the rest have got to improve. Shesko, can't criticize him too much. It's a miserable role at the top of the United attack. I give him a 6 out of 10. Did some couple of really good movements in the first half. Showed a glimpse of him, but and probably could and should have scored, in my opinion. I think a sharper Shesko buries that first chance, but I think we are asking a little bit much out of him. But hey, if he's going to be successful in a United shirt with the dearth of service that we have and we have been giving him, if he gets half a chance like he had in the first half, he's got to score now. You know, because we've shown that we can't create for our strikers. So I feel sorry for him. I'll give him an average score. It's 6 out of 10. And I'm hoping as we play the lesser teams a bit, you know, Shesko is going to build some confidence and banging some goals for us. All right, let's go over to the substitutes. Xerxes came on, centre forward, didn't do much. In fact, I expected a little bit more out of him, so I'm going to give him 5.5 out of 10. Casemiro, 6 out of 10. Didn't have much of a chance to impact. Had a shot. Unfortunately got blocked, but not much chance to impact the game. Maguire, mark him down. You know, that was a Maguire of old. And again, Maguire is one of those players. When things are not going well, he looks way worse than maybe what he is and way worse than anybody else. He's just so slow, lethargic, and in a system that plays a high line like Amarin played today, when you're playing gung-ho, you're throwing everything in, he'll just get found out. And when he's scampering to catch and cling on to the coattails of the attacker, I mean, he just looks like a terrible footballer, Maguire. He doesn't even look like a footballer. So I really feel for him. But look, it is what it is. He was there. His bad pass led to the goal. He then got caught out. And at some point, you've just got to put your hands up and say, I'm a slow-ass player. Even if the manager puts you in there, just go like, look, I'll play at the back for Man United, but not if you're going to play on the halfway line and defend from the opposition's edge of the box. I mean, he gets to be made to look like a fool. So 4.5, 5 out of 10 for Maguire. And I think if he's to come on, first of all, for me, he comes on far too much. It's like Amarim. It's like what Solskjaer was for Sir Alex Ferguson or later Chicharito. This is what Maguire is for Amarim, it seems. You know, anytime we need a goal, chuck Maguire on. But this time, he didn't come in to score us a goal. He actually took another tall centre-back and put Maguire in. If Maguire was to come in the back of our defence, it should have been to replace Shaw, not Lenny Euro. So I'm still not happy about that. And last but not the least, Mainu. Mainu had a couple of good plays, I think, with Ugarte. They're technically good. Mainu and Ugarte, they're technically good. But they just got to be more disciplined. For this match, I don't think Mainu was neither here nor there, so gets a 6 out of 10. So anyway, that's player ratings done. Guys, Man United take another defeat. We go back to Old Trafford with an L. This is now, we make that one win from 4 matches. What a start of the season this has been. I'm going to sign off now and catch up with the rest of the interviews. Hopefully during the course of the week, I'll come up with another video, maybe to surmise some of the points from the interviews. But today was clear. We have a blunt attack led by a newbie, a rookie in Shesko. They've got the world's best in Erling Haaland. We had a terrible situation at the back with our goalkeeper. We brought in a new keeper, but it's not solved the situation because we're left lumbered with a number 2 goalkeeper, essentially. So our number 1 is young, inexperienced, can't play him. So we're still lumbered with that problem. While Man City fix their problem, they still have Edison, who's not a bad keeper, not quite at his best. and they went out and got the very best. So that's the difference between the clubs. That's the difference between the mindset. I've got a little bit of sympathy for Amorim, but we've got to do better. And we can't hang our hat just on the future. We have got to do better in the present as well. We can't have another season like we did last year, guys. We can't be looking at bottom half of the table, mid-table. We just can't. So this has got to change and change real quick. So all I can just say is I wish them all the luck. We're still very much behind you, and I hope, you know, our supporters are not going to call for his head, but, you know, it's time Amorim delivers. So take care all. Ciao.